The last signal. The galaxy was quiet when the transmission came. On the outer edges of the Valorian Empire, a small listening station caught the signal first. It was faint, broken, and carried across empty space where no life was meant to exist. The operators thought it was only static, another ghost echo in the void. Yet when the signal grew stronger, they leaned closer, their faces pale. The voice was human. For centuries, the galaxy believed Earth was dead, burned in wars, consumed by its own mistakes. Humanity had been gone so long that even its name had turned into a myth. Children in alien schools heard stories of humans like ancient monsters, fierce but long extinct. And yet, here it was, their voice whispering across the stars. The transmission began with static, then words, slow and heavy. "This is Earth, the cradle of man," the voice said. "If you hear this, then know, we are not gone." The operators froze. They replayed the message again and again, certain it was a trick, but the tone carried weight, sorrow, and fury. A dead world could not speak, and yet Earth was speaking. The message spread quickly. It jumped from station to station, from outpost to outpost, until it reached the inner worlds. The Galactic Council gathered to hear it for themselves. Grand chambers filled with hundreds of species sat in silence as the human voice echoed across the hall. "You laughed at us," the voice said. "You ignored us. You called us broken. You thought time would erase us, but now you will pay." The chamber erupted into laughter. Tall reptilian senators hissed with amusement. Feathered envoys clicked their beaks and mocked the old human legends. They believed this was nothing more than a clever hoax, a desperate attempt by pirates or rebels to stir fear. But there were some who did not laugh. The Solari ambassador leaned forward, his eyes narrow. His species still remembered the human wars. They had been small once, and humanity had stood beside them when no one else dared. To him, the voice was not a lie. It was a warning. Back in the dark corners of space, merchant ships reported strange disappearances. A freighter near the Zorath belt vanished without a trace. A convoy near the Drash Nebula sent a distress signal, cut off mid-scream. Patrols were sent to investigate, but they never returned, and always, before the silence, came the signal. The council demanded proof. They wanted to know the origin of the message. Engineers worked day and night to trace the broadcast. What they found made their hearts cold. The transmission came from the Sol system. From Earth itself, the council laughed again, declaring it impossible. Earth was a dead world, burned centuries ago, its atmosphere poisoned, its oceans dry. Nothing could live there, nothing could rise again. Yet the voice of Earth continued. "If you hear this, then your fate is already sealed." The words echoed across the galaxy. Alien children repeated them in fear. Soldiers whispered them in mess halls. Merchants prayed they would not cross paths with whatever haunted the void. At the listening post where it all began, the operators sat in silence. One of them finally spoke, voice shaking. "If this is true, then the galaxy is already doomed." The broadcast did not stop. It played again and again, never fading, never ending, as if Earth itself wanted to remind the stars of what they had forgotten. Humanity was not gone. Humanity had only been waiting, and in that waiting they had grown patient, patient enough to plan, patient enough to sharpen their blades in the shadows of forgotten space. The final line of the message struck deepest of all. "This is the last signal you will ever hear from Earth. The next sound will be fire." The council dismissed it, but fear had already taken root. The laughter of the council, the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, was alive with noise. Representatives of hundreds of species filled the glowing hall, their voices echoing against high crystal walls. Holograms of the human broadcast floated above them, the same words repeating again and again. "If you hear this, then your fate is already sealed." Many laughed. The towering Brakari, covered in iron scales, slammed their tails against the floor in amusement. The slender avians of the Kethri spread their wings and mocked the deep human voice. Even the usually quiet Arathians allowed a sharp hiss of laughter. To them this was nothing more than an old ghost story, a trick from rebels hiding in the void. They believed humanity was long dead, swallowed by its own wars, a once fierce race now nothing but dust. The council speaker raised his hand. A figure, of shimmering silver skin and glowing eyes, his voice echoed across the chamber. "The humans are no more," he declared. "This message is false, a fabrication meant to frighten children." But not all were convinced. At the far end of the chamber, the Solari ambassador remained silent. His scaled fingers tapped the desk as he watched the laughter around him. His people still remembered when human fleets once stood beside them. The Solari had been on the edge of extinction, and humans had come not with mercy but with fire. They had fought, bled, and saved them. He knew this voice was not fake. It carried too much truth, too much pain. "Mock them if you wish," he whispered to his aide. "But fear will come. Fear always follows the humans." Reports soon followed, but the council ignored them. A Zorath patrol failed to report in. A mining station in the red sands of Juvax sent a desperate distress signal. Only silence answered. A convoy of warships near the border of forgotten human space was torn apart, their last transmissions filled with screaming and static. Still, the council laughed. In a private gathering after the main session, the most powerful empires spoke in hushed voices. The Brakari warlord bared his teeth in a grin. "If the humans truly live, let them come. We will crush them again as our ancestors did." The Kethri overlord shook his feathers proudly. "They send words because they have no weapons. They hide behind echoes. We are not afraid of shadows." But beneath the laughter was unease. Every leader felt it in their hearts. The voice on that broadcast had not begged. It had not pleaded. It had promised, and promises from humans were never empty. In the dim corridors of the council archives, an old scholar searched through ancient records. She pulled dusty files of the human wars, documents that most had forgotten. She read of Terran fleets moving faster than light, of soldiers fighting even when burned and broken, of worlds scorched. In vengeance, her hands trembled. She whispered to herself, "This is not a warning. This is a declaration." Meanwhile, across the stars, ordinary citizens whispered the human words. In marketplaces, in schools, in military barracks, the phrase spread like fire. "Your fate is already sealed." Merchants refused to travel near old human space. Pirates abandoned sectors once rich with prey. Soldiers grew restless. Officers demanded answers. But the council only offered laughter. And then came the second transmission. It arrived not to one station, but to all. Across every empire, every colony, every ship, the voice of Earth returned. Stronger, clearer, impossible to ignore. "You know, mock us," the voice said. "You believe we are dead. You believe your walls and fleets make you safe. But remember this, humanity does not forget, and humanity does not forgive." The laughter in the council died. Silence spread. Every species felt the weight of those words. For a long moment no one spoke. Then the speaker forced a smile. "An empty threat," he said. "If humans exist, they hide because they are weak. We are the galaxy's rulers now, not them." But even as he spoke, fear crawled into every heart. The Solari ambassador rose from his seat. His voice was low, but it carried across the chamber. "You do not understand," he said. "If the humans truly walk again, then the galaxy is already lost." The chamber fell silent. The words of the broadcast still echoed above them, and in the silence, every laugh turned into unease because, deep inside, they all knew the truth. Something was coming. Something that no empire, no fleet, no council could stop, and the voice of Earth would not be the last thing they heard. Across the stars, silence fell, waiting for the fire to come. Shadows in the void. The first to vanish was a scout ship near the Ashari Rift. It was a routine patrol, a small crew of 6. Their last message was a simple check-in. Then silence. No wreckage, no distress call, only silence. At first the council dismissed it. Ships went missing all the time in the rift. Storms of dark matter often swallowed them, but then a week later another patrol vanished, this time on the edge of the Juvax fields, far from storms or anomalies. The only trace was a faint recording, screams, metal tearing, and in the background, the echo of a human voice. Whispers spread fast, Merchants traveling through border sectors began reporting strange sightings, shapes moving in the void, silent and enormous, shadows that blocked out stars before vanishing into darkness. Crews swore they saw the Terran banner, the old blue and green flag of Earth, painted on the hulls of those ghost ships. The council laughed at the rumors, but their laughter grew weak. In the mining colonies, children drew the flag in red dust, repeating the words of the broadcast, "Your fate is already sealed." Soldiers muttered about curses. Merchants rerouted their ships to safer paths, yet nowhere felt safe anymore. Then came the wreckage. A Brakari war convoy was found drifting near the broken expanse. 5 heavy cruisers torn apart as if sliced by invisible blades. The ships were split open like carcasses, their engines cold, their weapons silent. No survivors. On every hull, burned into the metal, was a single symbol, an Earth insignia. The Brakari warlord roared in fury. His people had fought the humans before centuries ago, and now their pride was wounded. "Cowards," he spat. "They hide in shadows. Let them face us in open war." But his fury did not erase his fear. Across the stars, more convoys vanished, more patrols silenced. Each time the survivors, if there were any, spoke of shadows moving faster than sight. Warships that seemed to melt from the void itself. Old human designs, but sharper, stronger, alive with power. One Solari captain who survived swore by the stars what he saw. His ship was spared, left drifting after the attack. His voice trembled as he told the council, "They did not kill us all. They wanted me to deliver a message." He paused, then whispered, "The humans are back." The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some demanded war fleets be assembled, others cried for negotiations. The speaker silenced them with a wave. His voice rang out, "There are no humans. These are tricks, shadows, fabrications to frighten us." But outside the chamber, the shadows grew bolder. An entire Valorian fleet of 30 ships vanished in the deep reaches. Only one vessel limped back, its hull scorched, its crew broken. They carried with them a final recording. The footage was brief but chilling. From the blackness of space, massive warships emerged, sleek and terrifying. Their hulls bore the name of Earth. Each moved with unnatural silence, like predators stalking prey. And then came the voice, the same voice from the broadcast. "You will not see us coming, but you will know when we arrive." The council could not laugh anymore. Fear spread like fire. Civilian transports demanded escorts. Colonies fortified their defenses. Whole sectors whispered of the Ghost Fleet. The name stuck soon. Everyone was calling them that. The Ghost Fleet of Earth. Yet the humans did not reveal themselves fully. They struck only in shadows. They destroyed supply lines, erased patrols, crippled fleets. They never stayed long, never allowed capture, only left wreckage and fear behind. And each time the old transmission echoed across the stars. "If you hear this, then your fate is already sealed." The Solari ambassador watched the council fall into disarray. His eyes were cold. "You were warned," he said. "You mocked their words, and now their shadows walk among us." The council speaker clenched his fists, desperate to maintain control. "We are the galaxy's rulers," he shouted. "We will not bow to ghosts." But in his heart, even he knew. The shadows were not just ghosts. They were real. They were human, and they were coming closer. The Ghost Fleet awakens. The galaxy had known fear before, but nothing like this. Across star systems, whispers spread of the Ghost Fleet, shadows that came and went without warning, fleets that erased convoys and colonies without leaving survivors. At first, the council called them myths, then they called them rebels. But now, too many had vanished. Too much blood spilled. The shadows were real, and then the truth was revealed. It began near the dead system of Orvos, where explorers found something impossible, beneath the black dust of a forgotten moon. Entire hangars opened, vast doors split apart, and from the darkness within rose shapes too massive to believe. Ancient human warships. But they were not broken relics. They were alive. Their engines roared with new power. Their hulls gleamed. With silent menace, symbols of Earth burned bright on their sides. Stars reflected across their black armor, making them look like predators of the void. The explorers did not survive to report what they saw, but their last transmission carried the image, a Titan-class warship, larger than a city, rising from the moon like a god of war. Its shadow swallowed the stars. The council gathered in shock. For centuries they had believed humanity destroyed, but the humans had never died. They had hidden, waiting. Their final broadcast had not only been a warning, it was a signal. Across the void, more hangars opened, from gas giants, from shattered asteroids, from hollowed-out planets. Humanity's fleets awoke, dozens, then hundreds, warships old and new, each carrying the same banner, each answering the same call. On one of those ships, deep in the silence of space, Captain Elias Dorn stood on the bridge. His face was lined with age, but his eyes burned with fire. Before him, the stars stretched endless. Behind him, the Ghost Fleet waited. Thousands of men and women, descendants of Earth survivors, ready to finish what their ancestors had begun. "The galaxy thinks us dead," Elias said to his crew. His voice was calm but sharp. "They laugh at our broadcast. They mock our name, but today they will remember. Today the Ghost Fleet rises." His crew roared in response, their fists slammed against their consoles, their voices filled with fury and pride. The Ghost Fleet moved in the outer sectors. Alien colonies awoke to find massive human warships blocking out their suns. Cities trembled under the shadows of Terran dreadnoughts. The sky itself seemed to fall as black hulls descended. A Valorian admiral watched in horror as his fleet was surrounded. The humans did not fire at once. Instead, the broadcast returned. The voice echoed across every ship, every channel, every screen. "This is Earth," the voice said. "We warned you. You laughed, but laughter ends today." Then the fire began. Human warships unleashed storms of energy. Alien fleets burned. In seconds, planetary defenses collapsed. The dreadnoughts moved with perfect coordination, precise, unstoppable. Every strike was vengeance carried across centuries. The council tried to respond. Armadas were sent, but they fell like insects. The Ghost Fleet was not only stronger, it was faster, more ruthless. They fought like hunters who had studied their prey for generations, on worlds where survivors remained. The message repeated, "This is the price of mocking Earth." Fear spread faster than the fire. Whole sectors surrendered without a fight. Colonies lowered their banners and begged for mercy, but the Ghost Fleet gave none. They had not returned for peace, they had returned for justice. Back in the council chamber, chaos erupted. The speaker shouted for unity, for courage, but no one listened. Each empire thought only of itself. Each ruler trembled, knowing they were next. The Solari ambassador closed his eyes, his voice low, almost broken. "I warned you," he whispered. "The humans were patient, too patient. Now they are awake and nothing will stop them." And still the Ghost Fleet rose. More ships answered the call. Their numbers grew until it seemed the stars themselves belonged to Earth. The galaxy had mocked Earth, but now it would pay, and the Ghost Fleet was only the beginning. The fall of empires. The galaxy had seen wars before, but never like this. The Brackari Empire was the first to fall. Their warlord had laughed at the broadcast, proud and unshaken. But when the Ghost Fleet came, his fleets burned in hours, entire. Armadas of iron-scaled ships shattered under human fire. The Brackari homeworld watched its skies darken as Terran dreadnoughts eclipsed their sun. Then came the bombardments, precise and merciless. Cities turned to ash, defenses silenced, and, before the warlord's palace collapsed, the broadcast echoed through every chamber. "This is the price of mocking Earth." Next came the Kethri. The avian overlords who had mocked the human voice now screamed in terror as their fleets were torn apart mid-flight. Their proud wings could not save them. Their colonies surrendered without resistance, begging for mercy. But humanity gave no mercy, only fire. In less than a cycle, two great empires were broken. The council tried to hide the truth. They told their people the battles were exaggerations, tricks of propaganda, but no lie could cover the burning skies. Refugees poured into neutral systems, carrying stories of cities erased in seconds, fleets torn apart without a chance to fight. And always, they spoke of the voice of Earth, repeating its vow. Fear consumed the stars, merchants stopped traveling, colonies shut down their ports, armies deserted before they were even called to fight. The galaxy had ruled for centuries without fear, but now every shadow in the void felt like death. Every flicker of static in the comms felt like the beginning of another broadcast. In the council chamber, chaos reigned. Leaders shouted at one another, blaming each other for the collapse. Some demanded peace, others screamed for war, but all knew deep inside, there was no stopping what had begun. The Selari ambassador stood once more, his voice calm yet sharp, cutting through the noise. "You laughed at their warning," he said. "You ignored their shadow fleet. Now they do not come as whispers, they come as storms. You thought them weak, you called them extinct. But now they burn your empires, and tomorrow they will burn yours." For the first time, the council fell silent. Meanwhile, the Ghost Fleet pressed forward. Titan-class warships led the strikes, each one capable of destroying entire fleets alone. Human captains guided their ships with cold precision, striking supply lines, shattering starports, crushing defenses before the enemy could even respond. The galaxy's strongest armies that once ruled with arrogance, were reduced to nothing. A Valorian admiral tried one final stand. He gathered 40 ships, the pride of his empire. They waited at the nebula gates, prepared for battle. But when the humans arrived, their numbers were greater, their movements faster, their firepower unstoppable. The Valorian fleet lasted 12 minutes. Then the admiral's ship was cut in two, drifting lifeless in the void. Across the stars, empires collapsed. The Brakari throne burned, the Kethri overlords fled. The Valorians vanished into hiding, worlds once proud now knelt in silence. The galaxy was no longer ruled by laughter. It was ruled by fear. And still, the broadcast played over and over. "If you hear this, then your fate is already sealed." On the bridge of his flagship, Captain Elias Dorn watched the flames of another empire fade into silence. His crew looked to him, waiting. "Do not forget," he said, his voice heavy. "This is not conquest. This is justice. They mocked Earth. They erased our name. They believed us gone. Now we show them what it means to wake the ghosts." His words carried through the fleet, filling the hearts of every human. They had waited for centuries, hidden in shadows. Now they struck without hesitation, without weakness. Back in the council chamber, the speaker's silver skin dimmed. With fear, he tried to command the remaining fleets, but no empire listened anymore. Every ruler thought only of their own survival, and one by one they realized the truth. The galaxy they knew was gone. The empires had laughed at Earth, but their laughter, the reckoning. The galaxy no longer laughed. World after world had fallen. Proud empires burned, fleets shattered, rulers fled into hiding. And still the Ghost Fleet moved, silent and merciless. No one could stop them. No one could stand against them. But then, another transmission came. Every screen flickered. Every comm channel turned to static. Across every planet, every ship, every colony. The same voice returned, louder than before, sharper, filled with fire. "This is Earth," the voice declared. "We warned you, you mocked us, you called us dead, but you cannot kill what remembers, you cannot silence what waits, now you will pay." The words cut through the galaxy like blades. Soldiers who once served proudly dropped their weapons, civilians hid in fear. Leaders trembled as the voice continued. "You thought us broken," it said, "but we are whole. You thought us weak, but we are fire. You thought us gone, but we are here, and we do not forgive." The transmission ended with a single chilling line. "The reckoning has begun." Across the council chamber, silence spread. The speaker's silver skin dimmed, his voice cracking. "This cannot continue," he whispered. "If they take the capital, the galaxy itself will fall." But deep down, he already knew the capital was next. The council ordered every remaining fleet to gather around their heart world. Millions of ships formed walls of steel and fire. The largest armada in galactic history. They believed numbers would save them. They believed size would protect them. But numbers meant nothing against the Ghost Fleet. From the shadows of forgotten space, humanity gathered. Thousands of warships, dreadnoughts, carriers, and titans burned with energy. The Tiwam void shimmered with their engines. The fleet stretched so vast it looked like a second galaxy had come alive. On the bridge of his flagship, Captain Elias Dorn stood tall, his eyes fixed on the star map. The Council's armada glowed bright, waiting at the capital. He raised his hand, and silence fell across his crew. They believe their walls will. Hold, he said. They believe their numbers will save them. They forget who we are, they forget what we lost. Today we remind them. His words carried through the fleet, echoed into every human ship. Generations of survivors, children of Earth's ashes, raised their voices. Their chants filled the comms. For Earth, for Earth, for Earth. The Ghost Fleet advanced. In the capital system, alien soldiers stood ready, their weapons shaking in their claws. Civilians stared at the skies, praying the shadows would not come. The council leaders sat in their towers, whispering to one another in fear, and then the humans arrived. The void tore open. Black shapes emerged, endless and unstoppable. Their engines burned like dying suns. Their hulls gleamed with the Terran banner one by one. Thousands of ships filled the skies. They moved in silence, a storm waiting to strike. The galaxy held its breath. Then the broadcast came again. This time, not a whisper, not a warning, but a roar across every channel. "This is Earth," the voice thundered. "This is the reckoning you mocked. You sealed your fate when you laughed at us. Now you will watch your empires fall. Now you will watch your stars burn." The capital trembled. The council chamber shook with panic. Leaders screamed for orders, for retreat, for mercy, but no order came. There was no mercy. Captain Elias Dorn lowered his hand. "Begin," he said, and the reckoning began. Human warships surged forward, tearing through the council's armada like fire through dry grass. Enemy fleets broke in. Minutes, soldiers fled. Commanders abandoned their posts. The humans fought without hesitation, their vengeance sharper than steel. On every burning world, on every collapsing fleet, the same words echoed. "This is Earth. This is the reckoning." The galaxy realized too late. It was not a war. It was a judgment, and judgment had come, had died in fire, and humanity was only beginning. The price of mockery. The skies above the Council's heartworld burned. The largest fleet the galaxy had ever seen was broken, shattered like glass under the storm of humanity's wrath. Ships that once ruled the stars drifted in silence, torn apart, their fire fading into darkness. Alien soldiers who had sworn loyalty to their empires now floated lifeless in the void. From the shadows of the battlefield, the Ghost Fleet moved forward. Black Titans and dreadnoughts advanced without pause. Each ship carried the same symbol, the flag of Earth, glowing like a wound across the stars. The council chamber shook as explosions echoed outside. Leaders screamed, their voices filled with panic. "Hold the line," the speaker cried, his silver skin flickering with fear. But there was no line left to hold. Humanity had broken everything. On the surface, cities collapsed under precise bombardments. Towers of glass and crystal crumbled into dust. The proud banners of alien empires fell into flames. Civilians ran through the streets, their eyes fixed on the skies, and in every shadow above, human ships waited, silent, merciless. Then once more the broadcast came. "This is Earth." The voice thundered across every screen, every comm, every soul. "We warned you. You mocked us. You believed us gone. But we do not fade. We do not forgive. We are the fire in the void. And this is the price of your mockery." The words crushed the last fragments of hope. The speaker fell to his knees, his voice breaking. "We surrender," he whispered. "Please, we surrender." His plea echoed across the chamber, but no answer came. Humanity did not come for surrender. Humanity came for reckoning. In orbit, Captain Elias Dorn stood on the bridge of his flagship. His eyes burned with cold fury as he watched the Council's capital fall. His crew waited for his command. He raised his hand slowly. "Finish it," he said, and they did. Human warships unleashed fire across the capital. Energy beams carved through defenses. Missiles split towers apart. The once great jewel of the galaxy became a storm of flame and ruin. The Council's armies fell silent, their leaders broken, their world consumed. As the smoke rose, the Ghost Fleet spread its wings across the stars. Their presence felt in every corner of the galaxy. No empire remained strong, no fleet stood against them. Humanity was alone at the top, but they were not done. Across conquered worlds, the same message repeated, the broadcast echoed forever. This is Earth. We are not gone. We are not broken. This galaxy belongs to us now. On colony after colony, alien citizens lowered their heads in silence. Their empires had mocked Earth, their leaders had laughed, but now all laughter was gone, replaced with fear. The Solari ambassador, the only voice who had believed from the beginning, stood on the ruins of the council chamber. He whispered into the ashes, I told them the humans would return, and now they have. His words were carried away by smoke and silence. In the void above, Captain Elias Dorn watched the flames fade. His crew stood in silence, waiting. We have paid them back, Elias said. But remember, this is not the end. This is the beginning. The galaxy mocked Earth, and we showed them the price. Now the stars belong to us, and we will never be forgotten again. The Ghost Fleet answered with a roar. Thousands of ships raised their banners, their engines burning brighter than suns. Their shadows covered the stars. And as the galaxy watched, the final broadcast echoed one last time. This is Earth. Remember our name. Remember what we are. This is the price of mocking us, and this is the dawn of our return. Silence followed, a silence deeper than the void. A silence filled with fear, for the galaxy now belonged to Earth, and the humans had only just begun.